مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله كمثل حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل
وكل في فلك يسبحون
ويخلق ما لا تعلمون.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to a new episode of our program, The Universal Quran. Last time the verses talked about the punishment of those transgressors or at-taghin and what's going or what will be waited for them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us many details about this issue. And here, as we said before, always the Quran talks about two groups. For example, the successful ones and the loser ones, those who are going to paradise and those who are going to hellfire, the right and the wrong, the right way and the wrong way, and so on. And after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us description about the food and about that everything will be recorded on the Day of Judgment and all these things, here the verse again turn to a new issue, which is talking about al-muttaqeen, or about those who were pious, those who were righteous, those who feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the dunya, and then their reward and their forgiveness and paradise is waiting for them in the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says here, inna al-muttaqina mafaza. For the righteous there is a kind of success, there is a kind of gain, there is a kind of benefit, but this is what we understand. But again, the issue of paradise is something that nobody, for example, has ever been there, and nobody knows the secrets or the pleasures that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared for those who feared Him. As last time we mentioned the verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَىٰ هُدًى مِّن رَبِّهِمْ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And then the last verses also of Surah Al-Nahl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا. So imagine that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with those who are muttaqeen, is with those who fear Him, is with those who are pious. If we say now, for example, this person is going to have a meeting, for example, tomorrow, he's going to meet President, or he's going to meet an important person, so he'll be happy. He will try to wear the best he has, and he will try to just make a kind of revision for the words he's going to say, and to, for example, avoid anything that might make the president or the sultan or the emir angry with him. So, and we say now he is with the president. He might not be with him. He might be with the secretary, with the aides, with the supporters, and the last stage that he might be with the president or not. But here, it's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So imagine the situation when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself is with them. إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ مُحْسِنُونَ. So the verse here is talking about them, and the rest of chapter of An-Naba is describing the situation of the people of paradise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here, He says, إِنَّ الْمُتَّقِينَ مَفَازًا حَدَائِقَ وَعَنَبًا. Gardens enclosed and grapevines. And again, these gardens that are enclosed and the grapevines are not like what we have here in this life, but there's something different. But somebody might ask why they are mentioned here. They are mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just wants to give you an example that you can understand, because you might be perplexed or confused. And when you say, okay, what's going to wait for us? What's going as muttaqeen, as righteous, as, for example, good people, what will be prepared for them? You would say, I don't know. But here the Quran is giving you something which is close to your mind, by which you can understand the reality of the hereafter. But as I said before, it is a complete change, and there is no comparison between for example, the fruits that we know here, and although they have the same names like fruits in paradise, and the fruits there, it is something, of course, better than the organic, better than all kinds of the best. If there is a country, for example, let us say, for example, Spain or Switzerland or Egypt, Saudi Arabia, for example, has got the best kind of banana. But what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared in the hereafter better than the best thing you have here, better than all kinds of fruits, vegetables, foods you have here. Something that you can't imagine. Just if you want to think about Jannah, just read the verse in Surah Al-Sajdah. فَلَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُم مِّن قُرَّةِ أَعْيُنٍ جَزَاءً بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. No soul would know about what's kept hidden of pleasures and blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared for them. And then after hadaiq or grapes enclosed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says here, وَكَوَاعِبْ أَتْرَابًا. Kawa'ib atraba means the hureen or the virgins that are waiting for you as a believer and for you as a pious person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in another surah, He says, وَحُورٌ عِينٌ كَأَمْثَالِ اللُّؤْلُؤِ الْمَكْنُونِ. The beauty of al-hur al-'ain is exactly looks like the pearl. You know how the pearl, for example, is white and how beautiful it is, and it's for example, it's shining and so on. So in their beauty or in their good looking, they will look like the pearl, for example. And this is something that you can't imagine. Sometimes we say, okay, this is the most beautiful, for example, lady in the whole universe, or Miss Universe, as some people say. In the hereafter, the Hur'een, they are better than all ladies in this life, because they have been designed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them especially for the enjoyment of the good believers and for the enjoyment of the righteous people and for those who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very much. And after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَكَأْسًا دِهَاقًا, and the cup full to the brim, full of the best kind of drink you might imagine, full of many verses say, for example, or confirm that they will be full of wine. But again, because I don't want this idea to come to your mind, you would say, oh, wine is prohibited here. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibits something here and then He allows it in the hereafter? We said before, what is prohibited here will no longer be prohibited in the hereafter. Gold is prohibited here to be worn by men. In the hereafter, it will be allowed. For example, silk is prohibited here, then it will be allowed there. Wearing something made, for example, out of silver is prohibited here, and then will be prohibited there. But not the bad things. You can't say, for example, usury is prohibited here. No, this can never happen. And for example, homosexuality is prohibited. No, don't think about that, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot, for example, say that this is something against nature, against humanity, against your structure, and then He can allow it in the hereafter. No, but He just allows these things things that you wear, like silver, gold, silk, and so on. But somebody might say, okay, for example, Brother Mahmoud, he said everything which is prohibited here will be allowed. No, not everything. I mean, just in certain and very specific cases. You are not allowed, for example, to marry your daughter here. So somebody might say, okay, the sheikh or the doctor or in the TV, Universal Quran, a person said, this will never be allowed in the hereafter. You can't say that, subhanAllah, in the hereafter in paradise. No, this will never happen. Just the case applies to silver, gold, and silk. But other things will not be allowed, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can't say that this is prohibited or this is something repugnant here, and then it will be, for example, made allowed or made permissible for you in the hereafter. And then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَكَأْسًا دِهَاقًا, He says, لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا. In the hereafter, you can't hear, for example, bad words. You can't hear vanity. You can't hear foolish words. Although you might hear these in the dunya here, but in the hereafter, this will not happen, because people before going to paradise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will purify them, and they will be purified in a certain river called Al-Kawthar, or it might have another name, for example, and before being admitted to paradise, they will be purified of hatred, of enmity, of everything, and they will go to paradise in a very pure and in a very clean way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا تأثيما إلا قيلا سلاما سلاما. So their language there is the word peace. This is the word that they will repeat most of the times. لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا. They will not listen or hear to any bad words, and they will not, for example, engage in lying. Nobody is going to lie against his brother. Nobody is going to lie to his brother, because lying, as it is prohibited here, it will be prohibited in the hereafter. And the Jannah is, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ankabut, وَإِنَّ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ لَهِيَ الْحَيَوَانِ. It is the supreme or the highest stage of life. It's better than anything here. It's better than the most luxurious or the best place in the universe, on this planet. Paradise will be better than this place that you think, for example, is the best. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after saying that, He said before, جَزَاءً وَفَاقًا, a fitting punishment for those tyrants. And here He says, جَزَاءً مِّن رَبِّكَ عَطَاءً حِسَابًا, a recompense from your Lord, a gift which is sufficient. So this is the gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared for the pious, and the gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared for the good people. جَزَاءً مِّن رَبِّكَ عَطَاءً حِسَابًا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala generosity is unlimited. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kindness can't be compared to anybody's kindness in the dunya.
يهدي به الله من اتبع رضوانه سبل السلام.
Back to the Prophet. Join Sheikh Amar in the program Back to the Prophet, wherein he teaches us practical lessons from the Prophet's life and how this can help us to overcome our challenges in the present.
We talk about the life example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, seeking guidance for ourselves. In the early days after the revelation of the Holy Quran, the Muslims were greatly persecuted, so much so that quite a few Muslims had to leave Arabia and migrate to Africa to live among Ahl Kitab, Christian people who followed the gospel of Christ.
يهدي به الله من اتبع رضوانه سبل السلام.
جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the transgressors, جزاء وفاقا, a fitting recompense. Here the same thing applies, but to the righteous and to the muttaqeen, who will be given a great reward and who will be given the best reward which is suitable for them, because they feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They deprived themselves from, for example, committing immorality, which is prohibited, from engaging in something that would make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala displeased with you, and they avoided all these things, and they dedicated their life mainly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to worship Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the next verse, He says, رَبِّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَ الرَّحْمَنِ لَا يَمْلِكُونَ مِنْهُ خِطَابًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Lord of the universe, the earth, and what's between them. And the whole universe is controlled by Him, and the whole universe belongs to Him, and the whole universe is under His control, and no power, or there is no other power which can take care of the universe. As we say that this is the supernatural power or the main power. No, the main power is the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who in front of such power nobody can, for example, stop, or nobody can challenge this power, or nobody can say no. For example, this thing doesn't apply to me. No, you have to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to do anything, and He is able, as we said before, it's just a matter of just saying a word. إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. If He wants, for example, to do something, He would say it be, and then that's it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need to wait, for example, to issue a verdict, or to get, for example, the approval of members of the parliament, or members of or His angels. No, all of these things, this is just in the dunya. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decision is completely different from our own decision. And as we said before, in Surah Ash-Shura, Allah says, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. There is nothing could be made equal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The verse here, لَا يَمْلِكُونَ مِنْهُ خِطَابًا. Nobody can speak in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or on the day of judgment, except by a permission from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the next verse says, يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا. On the day of judgment, all angels and the Jibreel alayhi salam will come on this day, and nobody of course would have the ability to just even say one word unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him the permission and he speaks the truth and he says the right things. ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا. For those people who do not think about the reality of the day of judgment, or they are not sure, or they have a doubt about the presence or the existence or the occurrence of this day, no, the day will come and will take place. But when? Nobody knows. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقِّ. Indeed, this day is going to come, this day is going to take place, but the knowledge about which day exactly, which hour exactly, when, which year, nobody knows except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقِّ. Again, the verse is warning us, فَمَنْ شَاءَ اتَّخَذَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِ مَآبًا. So the one who wants to be saved in this day, he wants to be protected against all these horrors and all these scary things, he should try to find the best way by which he can come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, either through, for example, additional prayers, or either through, for example, doing charity, or doing hajj, or doing, for example, good deeds, helping the poor, helping the needy, because you need to remember that you are doing these things mainly for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again we need to make sure that what we do is sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because loads of things we do, but sometimes we don't have the intention to do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are just doing that for the sake of showing off. People would say these are good, they are generous, they are scholars, they are mashallah hafiz, he memorizes the Quran, and in a very good way. No, you need of course to make everything sincere for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to have the full reward. Because if you participate another person, for example, in the matter of worship, if you think that you are going to get the pleasure by the person, then you will not get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and your deed might be spoiled and you will have no good reward for it. ذلك اليوم الحق. As we said before in Surah Al-Insan, إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us of the same thing in with the same verse, which is but just in a different way. ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا. The day of judgment is the truth, and this is the right thing. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in another verse, الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو ربهم وأنهم إليه راجعون. They have sincerity, and they have full faith about the existence and about this day is going to take place. And as I said before, the knowledge of which day exactly or which year this is something is rested with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you can't doubt this thing, because this is the truth, and everything the Quran came with is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which we have to completely believe. You have no way to doubt anything, and you have no way to say I can't accept that. No, the Quran, as a Muslim, you accept the Quran, you accept Islam as a religion, so you must believe in everything that was revealed in the Quran. فَمَنْ شَاءَ اتَّخَذَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِ مَآبًا. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again is reminding you of إِنَّا أَنذَرْنَاكُمْ عَذَابًا قَرِيبًا, as reminding you of this punishment which will take place in the hereafter. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told you many times, He gave you many warnings. You have seen many people in front of you dying, for example, or you have seen disasters, you have seen that, you have seen earthquakes, you have seen volcanoes, and all these things are just to warn you, but you didn't get any kind of precaution, you didn't prepare yourself, you didn't say tomorrow, or I don't know when I'm going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You didn't prepare yourself very well for this kind of exam, for this kind of test. If you want, for example, to get a degree or to upgrade your degree, you are going to join an exam, and if you are doing well for the exam, you will get the degree. If you will do bad, you will never get the degree. So the same thing applies to the hereafter, but in a different way. If you are for example, loaded with all weapons, with istighfar, dhikr, tasbih, siyam, fasting, pilgrimage, salah, and all these things, then be happy, inshallah you will pass the test. But if you have brought none of these things, there is no way that you can pass the test, and you are going to completely fail, and you will face your destiny, because it's your own deed, and it is your own deeds that you have done in this life. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here, He says, إِنَّا أَنذَرْنَاكُمْ عَذَابًا قَرِيبًا يَوْمَ يَنظُرُ الْمَرْءُ مَا قَدَّمَتْ يَدَاهُ وَيَقُولُ الْكَافِرُ يَا لَيْتَنِي كُنتُ تُرَابًا. عذابا قريبا, in another verse in Surah Al-Ma'arij, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّهُمْ يَرَوْنَهُ بَعِيدًا وَنَرَاهُ قَرِيبًا. In our sight, or in our own conception, we see that the hereafter is quite far away from us. But to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's very close to Him. Because as we said, the issue of calculations is completely different with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One day here, one day before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, exactly like 1,000 years of our own calculation. So in that day, يَوْمَ يَنظُرُ الْمَرْءُ مَا قَدَّمَتْ يَدَاهُ, everybody will find what he has done, will find out the result of his deeds, will find his record, whether the record is full of good deeds or bad deeds. So again, it is your own conclusion, it is your own harvest. If you did well, then you will have a good end, but if you did bad, then you will have a bad end, and it's only your deed, and it's only you did it yourself. This is your own design, and nobody else will be blamed but except you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, in that day the disbeliever would wish that he would be turned to a mere dust, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will gather among all people, and even He will gather among animals. So He will say to the animal that has got horns and head, for example, the other one that had no horns, He would say to the animal, take your right from the other one, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would make a kind of reconciliation between the two animals, and after this judgment He will say to the animals, be as a mere dust. And here the kafir, or the disbeliever, when he watches this view, he would say, I wish I were mere dust. So try to take your precaution and try to be away from that, and be ready, and ask yourself just one question. When you are about to sleep, ask yourself, have I done any good thing today? Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, he said that for example, every day in which we do not disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is a kind of feast, it's a kind of festival. This is the day of happiness, when you spend the day and night without committing any obedience, or without committing any sin that will make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala displeased with you. So you have to do well, and remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala everywhere you go, whether you are an employee, professor, doctor, president, ruler, minister, anything, any job you have, any place you will, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and remember that He is watching you, and He has full idea, He has full knowledge about your actions, your deeds, and your record, and all these things. So we need to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we need to check our records before they are being checked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to weigh, just bring, for example, an imaginary scales and put your deeds. Okay, these are the good deeds for today, and these are the bad deeds for last night, for example, or for yesterday. So you must make a kind of reconciliation. You have done 10 bad deeds, so you need to do 20 good deeds. So in order to have a kind of balance, as we said the verse, إِنَّ الْحَسَنَاتِ يُذْهِبْنَ السَّيِّئَاتِ. Whenever, unfortunately, you did something wrong, immediately try to replace it with something for which you will be given a kind of reward, by reading the Quran, by doing sadaqat, by doing anything that is accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is approved by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the whole surah talked about many things, about the destiny of the transgressors and the destiny of the righteous ones, those who are going to the right way and those who are going to the wrong way, and those who, for example, chosen guidance and those who chosen misguidance. So again, you must check the friends you have, or the colleagues you have, or the brothers you have. Are they on the right way, or they are on the wrong way? Are they going to lead you to paradise or lead you to hellfire? We need to check all these things before the day of judgment, and before meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to do our best to meet Him in the best position of faith and in the best position of iman. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive all our sins, and to make our good deeds accepted by Him, to make such deeds sincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I thank all of you, and until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وترى الجبال تحسبها جامدة وهي تمر مر السحاب صنع الله الذي أتقن كل شيء إنه خبير بما تفعلون.
مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله كمثل حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل
وكل في فلك يسبحون.
ويخرج